Hi, my name is Quincy Tobin. I'm a fourth year and I'm in Bev Studio this quarter. First of all, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to review our projects today. Um, yeah, let's get into it. On this page here, I have a vicinity map of our site boundaries and my selected site as well. And so the faded pink in there is the area I will be looking at in this project. And that includes South Street right here and Broad Street right here. And so for this project, it's kind of my goal to create a general plan for this area and ways to make these streets more environmentally friendly, user friendly, and overall safer and good for the environment. And so you can pause here to read over my goals and objectives and kind of how I went about the site selection. All right. And so, yeah, just like in overview, basically putting in things to create a safer pathway for kids to get to Hawthorne Elementary School. These are really busy streets, if you aren't familiar, and they make it hard for people to walk across them. Create a less vehicle-centric neighborhood, try to make it more equitable for people on feet, people on bikes, and people with different physical abilities. And while doing that, I also want to put into place bioswales and planters for different bioremediation things to limit the number of toxins in our waterways. And moving along, here we have this map kind of zoned out with different things that I want to put in this site. So you can go ahead and pause here to read over the proposal and constraints and opportunities. And so, like I was mentioning earlier, my proposal here is to overall make this neighborhood safer, more environmentally friendly, and just more walkable, easier to get around. And so in this map, these darker pink blocks represent different crosswalks that I want to put in place. And in these areas, they might consist of bulb outs or planters or places with traffic or pedestrian signaling to make it easier for people to cross the street and safer. And bulb outs and stuff like that make it so that people don't have to spend as much time crossing the street, and that is good for everyone, and especially children and people with different physical abilities. And these white lines right here represent bettered bike lanes, basically. So areas where I want to make the bike lanes more accessible and or safer. Yeah. So moving along again, here we have kind of like some ideation going on. This is just kind of a group of pictures that have given me inspiration throughout this process and things that I'm just kind of looking towards when designing. And so for visualizations, this is the first one I made. It demonstrates bulb outs showing kind of like how they'll look in the street and how they will minimize the area needed to cross the street. And in this visualization, it's on the intersection of South Street and King Street. And here I've kind of played around with making the existing median a swale or just a planter. And after kind of going through this whole mid-reap process, I'm thinking that bulb outs will be better suited to Broad Street only. And because I've made some other designs for South Street, which I'll get into after this. But yeah. And so here is very much what I'm leaning towards on South Street. And that is kind of moving the parking and adding these planters in. And so parking is shown in pink. And what I did is I removed the parking from this south side of South Street, and I just am only having parking on the northern side of South Street. And so when getting rid of this parking, it makes more room for these planters and swales to have more green space and more space to filter water before it gets in the waterways. And then the blue are bike paths. And so when putting the parking on the northern side only, I kind of pushed it towards the street more in order to protect this bike lane. Yeah. And then this next visual was a quick little perspective render of that previous visual that I just showed you, South Street. And this kind of shows people crossing the street, how the bike lane would look in relative to these planters. And yeah, feel free to email me with any questions. Again, thank you so much for your time in reviewing today. I really appreciate it. I know we all do, especially with everything going on. Hope this finds you and your loved ones well and healthy. And thank you so much again.